We've both been scripting a good amount. What's the best hook you've written?
I could finally not worry about breaking an elevator for weight loss.
This is definitely no Ozempic ad.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one where I was like, why is this working? Because I mean, it gets people's attention.
Is that like that's a verbal hook?
Yeah. So, like I always used to get nervous, like getting into elevators because I didn't want to be the one to like set it. Like if we got stuck, everyone would look at me. Yeah.
Have you ever that's a great copy. Have you ever seen that video of that family? They're all weighing themselves, and they're all like from 600-pound life kind of people, right?
Yeah.
And so the guy goes up there, he weighs himself, and he's like 60 something. He's like, damn, like I didn't know it was that heavy. And then like either somebody else in the family goes and she weighs herself and she's like, I'm scared. Like how heavy or how high does this scale go? And the nurse is like, oh, it goes high. And she steps on the scale and the nurse goes 823 pounds. And the guy goes, and the dude's 600 and like odd pounds, right? And he goes, damn. It's like,
that's crazy. You need to send me that clip so I can split screen that. By the way,
it is the funniest clip.
Yeah, no, I the more outrageous, the better. I mean, I think one of the biggest things you have to introduce is a little bit of novelty to someone's feed. So we have several clients in this kind of telehealth world that you can get a little PG-13 with the hooks, I would say.
And I think the good thing, because you're seeing this in telehealth and you're seeing this in supplements where there's outrageous claims.
Yeah,
absolutely outrageous claims.
FTC violation claims.
Yes, we talked about Avi. Like they have some claims of
kind of awkward. I got coffee with some of Avi's investors yesterday, and they were like, yeah, like they're just kind of they're a little crazy.
They are.
And I was like, yeah,
they are. And you look at some of the claims that they're doing in their copy, and it's crazy. It would make me never ever want to buy products support the brand, right?
Yeah.
But what you did with that hook is, like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's literally just clever copy.
Yeah. It's just like a relatable scenario. Like if there's like 8 people on an elevator and the elevator gets stopped and one person's like 350, you're looking at that person, you're like, yo, like if you weren't here,
And if you weren't here. And to me, it's like you looked at somebody's dream outcome and you were able to kind of reverse engineer into a relatable situation and write it into a good hook. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that I whipped that one out recently. But the reason I've been thinking about outrageous hooks and novelty is because ever since we had the good to great episode, everything like that is sticking out like a sore thumb because so many people are doing good ideas with terrible execution. And, good ideas like that one, for example, if the visual hook isn't good, then it won't work either, right? And so there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about today. So they're not really that related, to be honest, but one of them is Bryson DeChambeau. Cool. So I think his YouTube and TikTok strategy is amazing. And it's a clear example of like what the next wave of athletes, celebrities have to do, because I think it's not enough to be a celebrity anymore or a prominent athlete. Like athletes and celebrities are not marketable because we talk about this all the time, the content minutes thing, where if I'm spending every day, I'm seeing a Bryson DeChambeau TikTok and then I'm watching his YouTube video on Mondays, Rory cannot compete for my heart, right? Because I'm homies with this guy basically. That's true. That was sauce. But like, that's a really clever way to actually endear yourself to people. But, that's great for fans, but think about the marketability. When he drops products, like when he's working with Reebok or when he's working with his own brand, right? Like people are going to want to support it more than, just a random billboard or whatever it is. And so, gonna look at his content strategy, some of the things he's doing, because he's incorporating a lot of Mr. Beast with the challenge-based stuff, with kind of like the numerical precision. Like we're going to start on level 1 and then it's going to get progressively harder through the video. And you're going to see if I can reach this goal. And
is he the one that he was trying to hit a golf ball over his house?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Then I do know. I just don't know golfers' names.
Yeah. So
I don't respect golfing.
that is so bad. It's embarrassing for you, honestly.
No, I meant as I'm kidding. I'm messing. I'm
It's
more
a
so
joke.
like taking
It's a bet.
your hook about like you said that about running.
I know. And our new guy threw that on an Instagram carousel.
He said that you wanted it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I don't know. So that's one thing is I want to talk about like that content strategy and what it means for the future of like athletes and celebrities as content creators, because it's not just enough to, like Glenn Powell just launched a sauce brand, right? It's about as hollow of a sponsorship as you could ever see. Literally, it's just Glenn Powell sauce brand. He's not going to be involved. He's got no role in it. There's nothing unique about the sauces. Like it's getting killed right now in the health and wellness space because the ingredients are filled with, palm oil and all these like kind of ingredients that got wrecked over the last 5 years in that space. And everyone's just like, why are you doing this? Like, does it just taste better? Is that what you're doing? And like, unless he leans in and is like the sauce guy, then the brand has no chance, right? It's not just going to sell because it's got a face.
He starts the cooking show. He starts like these challenges. He starts doing all of
right.
that on the
and if he like incorporates the sauce into like some great social content, great, that'll work. But otherwise, it literally does not stand a chance versus someone like any of the food creators we know, like our homie Zach. Like if Zach launched a sauce and that was in 3 videos a week and in his YouTube content, it's going to move crazy weight, right? So Bryson is one of the few athletes I think that understands this. He's basically turned into a content creator full time. He vlogs, he has series on YouTube, he has series on short form.
I did follow him after I saw that how many days it was going to take for him to hit whatever it was, the golf ball over his house.
I think it took him 11 days.
Yeah,
and
so in that range of like 11 to 16 days.
And like any series, it peaks from like day like 6 to 10 because the tension is so strong, right?
Yeah.
Like I did a video on that Jenny Hoyos girl, and like one of the things she talks about so much is like storytelling is all about tension.
Yeah.
Like you have to keep them, wanting to see the end. And the video I sent you earlier, which we'll put up on the screen, is...
Where'd you send it again?
I texted it to you. The video is, seeing if he can hit a balloon with a golf ball. And then on the top of the screen, it shows the 5 levels. Level 1 being the easiest. It's like, obviously he's going to hit that. Level 5 looks borderline impossible. And for whatever reason in his caption, again, he says level 2 was impossible, right? Like that's okay. Let's backtrack a little bit. So level 1 looks easy. He's clearly going to hit it right off the bat. That's the hook. The visual hook is clear. Level 2, like before you even play this video, he says level 2 is impossible. I think he's going to hit level 2. So when he's saying that's impossible, it's like, oh, is he going to take 5 shots at this? Like, is he going to, so you're adding a layer of intrigue of why you want to pay attention, And so like, that's the power of the caption. Like everyone underestimates the caption. I see this so much where brands like will write just a paragraph as if they don't look at, what TikTok, what Instagram cut off with their captions these days. So you have to almost like do a clickbaity, like, I never believed this, or you'll never believe this. Here's what I found. Like some sort of, stick around till the end copy that's really short, really sweet, because everything gets cut off. So if you start rambling with a paragraph, like that's not going to work. So amazing job on that piece of content. Like, and it's the Mr. Beast strategy, right? Any athlete can do this. Yeah. Jason Tatum is the least liked player in the NBA right now for being as prominent as he is. Imagine if he just started showing how insanely good at basketball he is. There's another golfer, Grant Horvat, who he's doing these series where on YouTube, he'll do a 2v2 match play where it's him, Phil Mickelson, legend, and then playing John Rahm, who used to be the world number 1, and Josh Allen, the QB of the Bills. So if you think about that piece of content, like Phil and John Rahm are as good of golfers as humanly possible. Usually you're watching them on TV, but now you're watching them first person POV vlog style, and the level of like play that they have is just insane. Yeah. You're blown away watching these guys, and it's so fun to watch and appreciate. Every athlete has the same potential to do that. Like if Josh Allen leaned into, just a target practice series, right? Or like he just leaned into different cool things he could do with the football. Like any athlete has this ability, and what they're doing is expanding their amount of content minutes. And why does this appeal, or what does this mean for brands? Like we get 1 million people who are saying, how do I do this for an HVAC business? Or how do I do this for a conventional services business? Are you an expert in your trade? What do you know more than other people? And how are you going to display that visually through content? Okay, that's your starting point. But learn from these guys where they're creating challenges. You know, they're creating reasons to stick around till the end. Like if you're an HVAC guy, you want to be like, all right, we're fixing 5 houses today. Number 3 was a complete beast. You will never believe what was going on at this house. You know, think about a guy who like cleans gutters, power washes streets, right? These are like abilities to have unlimited demand for your business if you just create content around how good you are at something, you know? And you're doing it already. You're already doing the activity. But now film it and watch what it does for your lead flow.
100%. One of my best friends, Alex, his little brother, Brian, like my little brother, but...
You just said your friend Alex's little brother, Brian?
Yes.
That's insane. You're not seeing what's going on there?
My best friend.
You just sounds like you just made up a story about us on the side.
Oh, I did. Yeah, yeah, that's odd.
Yeah,
that's odd.
I know you got wedding week, bro.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the problem with that?
I don't know if I thought you were hooking me.
So he started a lure company called Pangler Lures. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I told him, he was like, hey, like I want to start making content. I just don't know what I should be making. I was like, look, easiest thing you could do is go to YouTube, find some of the most viral things in that category or in other categories, right? Like you're saying, go to Mr. Beast's channel and see what are the titles, and then see, okay, what can I do that's similar to that? And so one of the ideas I gave him, or concepts I gave him, was go buy $50 lures. He's on the other end of like, these are cheaper lures, but they perform just as good as I was like, do $50 lure versus a $5 lure.
100%.
Do a $1 lure versus a $10 lure, right? So he started doing those concepts. Another one that I told him to do was have like a bunch of random lures. And it was like, whatever lure I grab out of here, I'm going to try to go catch a fish. That was another one. And then the third one that was gamified was giving himself, I think it was like 30 minutes to catch a fish.
Yeah.
So it was like, he had to actively go around a lake
Pacing,
and try to...
tension.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And so he's in the process of making those videos now. But it's like you're saying, where as soon as you sent me this video, I was locked in. Yeah. I was like, as soon as I watched, there was a few parts to it. As soon as I saw the first level, I was like, okay, I'm curious by him kind of showing... Jenny Hoyos always talks about this of foreshadowing and showing the different levels up top. I automatically wanted to know, like, can he really hit level 5? Because they kind of showed me level 5 beforehand. Yeah, that was super interesting. And then like you said, in the caption it said level 2 was nearly impossible. By level 2, I'm bought in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they used the foreshadowing, they used the first shot, and they used the caption as 3 hooks to get me to buy in. Because by the time level 2 happens, of course I'm going to stick around to see level 3, level 4, level 5.
Oh, and one other thing we talk about is the but therefore the zigzag, right? Like, so level 1, auto drain it. Seems like level 2, he's going to hit it. He introduces that like at the beginning, right when you're not going to pay attention anymore. He gives you kind of like a little head fake, right? He missed level 2. Yeah. He hits 3 and 4, which are insane shots, like unbelievable, but he missed 2. And so it's an expectation setting. Like the foreshadowing thing is what a lot of people don't understand, is why people stick around. Yeah. They want to stick around to see like something that they wouldn't expect.
The one thing that I think there's another option or variation of this that we can touch on. For his video, the short caption worked really well. Mm-hmm. What I've tested with my content is if I have a video that I know is going to perform well, but regardless, I will write a very long caption, and I'll use the caption as a retention tool. And the reason for that is, if somebody's watching my video, right, and they watch a few seconds, and then I basically do the same thing. I put a hook as the first part, and then I go into more detail, because when you're writing a script, you don't go into as much detail as possible because you're trying to get it under 40, 50 seconds. Yeah. But the caption doesn't matter. The caption could be as long as you. I mean, eventually you run out of characters, but you can write,
Yeah.
what would be like a 2-minute script in your caption. So I'll use the caption to elaborate more on, essentially give more context on the video and like the details in the video. And I use that as a retention tool because as soon as somebody opens up the caption to read it, that counts as watch time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you can use your caption to actually get people to watch your video and increase your watch time because it's still playing in the background.
So you can, what's really interesting is it's harder to do that on TikTok because TikTok doesn't let you put the spaces in captions, whereas Instagram lets you put the indents.
And it's cleaner.
Right. Yeah, and it's much cleaner, but like reading.
This I was specifically talking about.
Right. And TikTok just doesn't want you to read.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like their overall
scroll.
Yeah. The Chinese propaganda of TikTok is making us illiterate. Like who knows, but
they're playing chess over here.
Yeah. That's 4D chess.
They're playing chess over here.
But, so another cool thing about Bryson, right, is, his YouTube stuff. So he always is trying to accomplish the impossible, right? Can I break a course record in one try? Can I Break 50 is his kind of signature series. So he did a Can I Break 50 with all these prominent YouTube golf influencers. Breaking 50 is like him and another golfer trying to literally shoot a 50 on 18 holes.
It's crazy.
Which is like him and another pro, probably pretty good chance of that. But like anyone mid, like it's ridiculously hard. And that's amazing, right? Like it's just like there's intrigue. It seems impossible. It's novel. No one's ever done it before. Only he could really do it. And then it's repeatable because not only can he do new courses, but he can always incorporate new partners, right? Yeah. So the partner he did one with Trump. He did one with like all these other, Matthew Stafford, whatever. So really awesome job. And it all comes back to like the stuff that Mr. Beast has shared extremely publicly, like you want to have something novel. You want to have a number attached to it. Like you want to have a reason to stick around. I mean, Mr. Beast often calls it like morbid curiosity because he'll be like, I'm leaving them on an island for 30 days. And if they survive, they get $50,000. With Bryson, it's not necessarily morbid curiosity, but it is at least like, I'm extremely curious to see if he's going to accomplish this impossible challenge. Yeah. So, and I really think, the through line of looking at something like that and then applying it to, it's like it's almost like copywriting, like copywriting, the idea is you see something you like and then you write it down. It's like a passage from a sales letter you really like. You go write it, and by writing it, that makes your head think in the same way that the copy was written. And so from there on out, that's how you're going to think about copy. I think you want to do the same thing when you watch someone like Bryson, the Chunky Fit guys or whoever it is, right? Like these really strong content creation forward brands can take this exact Can I Break 50 concept and incorporate it, like you said, with your buddy with the lure. I think I'm going to go try and catch a fish with whatever lure I use. That's really interesting. Like, is he going to run into a massive fish that can't handle that? Or like, is it going to work?
Dude, we were working with a cookie company, and you and I have talked about this, where like founders that just have terrible ideas and but they always think their ideas are the best ideas, but they never get an idea to crack. We had an idea where we wanted to do like a street series, not like fully interview series, but more so setting up something on the street, having it where you would win. It was like $100 or $200, and we made like a 5-pound cookie. Yeah. And then you had essentially, it was going to be 10 minutes, I think it was, to eat this like 5-pound cookie. Mm-hmm. And it has all of the viral factors, right? It has the visual hook, it has the stakes, it has all, like it creates all the tension. You're able to create more tension if the person's sweating, if they're about to give up, you have a timer on the clock, and never ran with it, which is crazy to me. But I mean, I don't know if did you meet Jake? Yeah. You met Jake, Date Night Kitchen. Yeah. He built his entire following bit off of that idea, not his entire following, but that idea of, I think, dollar cookie or not dollar cookie, but 1 hour parm, 1 minute parm, like 1 minute chicken parm, 1 hour chicken parm, and then like 10-hour chicken parm. Yeah. Right. And like he did like a lot of these concepts, or I think he did do one. It was 1 minute brownie, 1 hour brownie, and then like 10-hour or 100-hour brownie or something like that. And it's like you're talking about, as soon as you buy into like that first 10 seconds, you're hooked.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of these videos, where you're just revealing more and more and more. And as you reveal more and more, you get hooked more and more.
Yeah. This is the power of copywriting and understanding that less is more. Because one thing I'll say is high school English ruined everyone's ability to write good copy. Because high school English and AP English, whatever it is, when you're being taught to write in school, you are over expanding. You're trying to hit a word count that is so much higher than what you actually need, unless you're writing science-based research paper.
Yeah.
And so it's actually very counterintuitive to over-explain. And you see this all the time where, in script writing, I would assume you never, it's something that I have a rule in my script where it's like, if the line can't stand alone, then there's not a second line to explain it. That just means the first line was unclear. And people need to understand that like the power of just a banger sentence is unlimited. So this guy, he says, POV, you stupidly designed knit sweaters based on the solar system. Okay.
Great.
What's up, dude? Show me, show me the sweaters. And then he goes into
I'm committed.
Yeah. And then he goes into the sweaters, right? And it's like Neptune, Saturn, like Uranus. And I think what's crazy about that is, again, like that video is so simple. He's just putting his idea into words, but he didn't say it. It's the way he wrote it is extremely socially native. POV, you stupidly, it's kind of like self-deprecating. You stupidly designed sweaters. And so,
because it would have been so different if you would have said, POV, you were inspired by the planets to design a collection. It would have been like,
or
cool.
Or the worst is what most people would do. Just launched.
Yeah.
New solar system sweaters.
Now live.
Yeah, now live. Like, get them while you can.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, like you got to stop pushing rather than pulling. Everyone tries to push their product rather than creating something that pulls in authentic attention and demand.
Yeah.
And that's really what he did is, he captures your attention, then delivers a crazy result because you see the sweaters, you're like, yo, these fire, and it's like, now you kind of have a cool story behind it. And a lot of this comes back to, the way that people buy psychology-wise. So people buy based on a few different things. Number one, obviously FOMO. Like they don't want to miss out on something, and so they buy it and take advantage of that. But there's also kind of like the social pressure element of it where everyone else is buying this thing. So I want to be a part of that club. People want to be early adopters. So I want to buy this sweater because I saw this video. It was serendipity that allowed me to see this video. And now I'm cool because I have this thing that I can gatekeep from people, right? And what people don't want to buy off of is an Instagram ad that their friends have also seen. I think that is like an untalked about experience in our market is there's nothing more cringe than when it's kind of like saying you met your girlfriend on a dating app, right? It's the same thing where it's, you say I'm wearing this piece and some guy's like, yo, did you buy that off IG? You bought that off an Instagram ad, huh? I'm cooked.
I got hit with the same Instagram.
Yeah. He's like, I saw that ad, but I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, bro. Like, I don't know why. And maybe I'm just a tweaker, but like that really ruins a lot of the aura of a piece, or a purchase, whatever it is. Like someone's being like, yeah, I saw that on Instagram. And it's like, oh, this brand was just pushing to all of us. And I was the sucker that fell for it.
Yeah.
Versus you see something cool, there's serendipity to it. You're early. And that's really the difference between organic and paid is you're building fans rather than customers, and you're not forcing yourself on anybody. Yeah. So, think about like the services business we were talking about earlier, right? Like that is truly the best differentiator you could have. People are gonna be like, yeah, I love your content. I just want to see you like work on my house.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's such a different experience. I mean, and even I'm sure you're experiencing this too with the agency. It's so much easier to sell because they want to work with you.
Yeah.
Versus having to do cold outreach and trying to get a meeting and get them to answer an email and pitch on a call. It's so much easier to pitch when it's like, look, you're the resource that I'm always listening to, that I'm always sending, and that, is getting shared in Slack. Like, how can we work together?
Yeah.
That's a different conversation. And it creates that same feeling when it is for your service business, whether it's a boring business or whether it's a DTC brand or CPG brand. It's like, I'm buying from you because I want your product. I like your product. You don't have to sell me on this. Like,
Right.
you've sold me through the organic content. It's this mechanism of pulling versus pushing.
Well, and wallets are tightening right now.
Yeah.
You know, so the brands that are still going to be fine have affinity because people want those things they're not just spending discretionary as much as they were. So if wallets are tightening, then how are you going to get through to them? It's not going to be just pumping more money into Facebook ads, right? Like, no matter what your product is, it's not that in demand. So you have to emphasize these things. And I guess what we will just scream until the freaking, lights go out is like, dude, like, everything's right there for you. Like, just study these YouTubers. Like, a video I'm making soon is that a lot of your hook ideas can be found in viral YouTube titles. That's like a video I'm about to try and drop pretty soon, because if a title works, like, it's literally so simple. If a thumbnail and title works on YouTube, boom, proven. Extreme curiosity driver, because people are clicking that in the massive content. They're not getting it on an algorithmically driven feed. It's not necessarily like a visual hook. It's just the packaging of the concept. And they're driving so many clicks through those ideas.
Some of my most viral clips were basically me taking, some of my most viral clips for the pod were me taking a hook from YouTube and then just reworking it when I intro something for the pod. And I think we even talked about that on a segment. This was an earlier episode where we actually talked about taking YouTube hooks and recreating them for social. It might have been based off of Jake, but yeah, if it's there and if it exists on YouTube, just recreate it within your category.
Yeah.
Like, you could look at Mr. Beast's content and or anybody, not just Mr. Beast. You could look at Ryan Train. You could look at even smaller YouTubers that are popping off. I mean, it's why, for example, actually the inverse. Actually, Daniel Dallin.
Yeah, I do. I don't really know what his deal is, though.
No, and I'm not even getting into that. But think about this. All he did was he took the inverse and he looked at IG, where IG POV XYZ was popping off, and he went and did it on YouTube. And now everybody's now copying him on YouTube.
Should we start hitting POV titles on our YouTube videos?
I think we did one. And then we changed it because we were like, that doesn't hit for YouTube. Do you kind of remember that?
Yeah. I mean, if anyone's got title advice, hit the boys.
Yeah.
I did. I decided not to be hungover for this podcast. I just want to make it
this
clear.
one.
Yeah.
Did you go out last night?
I went out and got some sushi and sake, and I could have pressed. I could have kept going, but that's what I do for the fam. Hold it down. One thing that could be interesting for the audience is I did do a video on Jenny Hoyos the other day, and the 3 things that she does are so helpful, I think, for anyone who's trying to create content for their brand. So number 1 is power words. So you mentioned earlier that Jake was doing a really good job with the contrast stuff. Like, $1 chicken sandwich versus $6 Chick-fil-A sandwich. Which one's going to be better? And she tries to make a chicken sandwich for $1. It's not just $1. It's free. It's secret. It's any sort of power word that is going to instantly make you be like, whoa, okay, like what? There's like, it's an extreme, I guess, is an extreme descriptor. Pretty much all of her videos above 10 million views start with a power word, which is crazy. Like, she found her thing and she just pressed it over and over and over again. As she should. And the whole goal of a power word is, you have to trigger a really strong response, right? Like, that neural response of like free, the OG stuff for this is always billboards, or it's always like a ad in the newspaper. Like, dude, I'm reading this book right now called Barbarians at the Gate. It's about Nabisco. And
are you reading or using Audible?
I'm reading.
It's the first book you read probably in 2 years.
Dude, the way this tickles my brain is crazy.
There's something about a physical book.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's my first book that I've been able to get into in a while. I've probably tried 4. I've dabbled and none of them tickled. And so this one started tickling right off the bat, and that's how you knew.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was fascinating to read about the origins of a couple of companies for them that they were talking about. So one of them was Standard Brands, another one was Nabisco, And then the third one was RJR Reynolds, which was like a, massive tobacco company. So basically you had like the people who invented the Ritz cracker, the people who invented the Oreo, and the people who invented like fucking cigarettes, basically.
Yeah.
And so these three massive brands, they all started kind of like late 1800s, early 1900s. What was fascinating to me was advertising agencies back then were still pumping out bangers. Like
more than ever.
130 years ago, people were coming up with product names that were ingrained and going viral at the time, right? So, the Nabisco's first product was "You Need a Biscuit." The product name was Unida.
Yeah.
Like UNEEDA. And so they would always, like, their billboard would just be, "Do you need a biscuit?" Or it'd be like, and it was really funny how they had like all these amazing examples of copywriting. But everything about what they did was power word oriented. It was always something that would give this connotation, like, of an offer, right? Like free, with gift with purchase, like all these things have kind of been around for forever. So that was one thing I noticed about their stuff.
There's a book. Oh man, I'm blanking on the name. It might just be the copy. No, it's not the copywriting book. I'll send this to you. It is the best. It's the best copywriting book I've ever read. And what's awesome about it is it's both visual and a ton of game. Right. So it's like this swipe file with game in it, but it's an older book, and I'm blanking on the blanking on what it is, but it is copywriting back then had swag.
It had so much swag.
It had so much swag.
It had to.
It did, because you had to elicit word of mouth.
Right.
That was like it was so different than now, where, we get an ad and we're trying to get a conversion out the gate, right? Like that is the sole focus for a lot of these brands. Whereas there, you were literally trying to evoke some kind of emotion to the point where you talk to somebody about it, because virality was you talking about it.
Yeah.
And you were playing such a different game. That's why that Rolls Royce copy written by Ogilvy is so legendary, right? And and there's a lot with, what's the one with Lamborghini and, oh man, Lamborghini and like some van company. And it's something along the lines of, yeah, your Lamborghini you can only pick up like one girl in your Lamborghini.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like their car picked up 9 or 8 or something. You know what I mean? And it's like, that goes, your elevator copy kind of reminded me of that a bit, where you're talking in a way where you don't have to like make these crazy claims and promises and list the bullet points at which your product is so much better than somebody else. You just have to write. Yes. Yeah. You have to like write with the swag of the person who can say the most clever thing at the bar or at the party or whatever it is. And it's a frame of mind, dude. Like, and you're right. Copy work is the best way of developing that.
Yeah.
When I've written my best copy and my best newsletters was because and the ones that would get the most responses was when I was doing a ton of copy work. It was when I learned this from Sam, like print out other newsletters that you like and that you read and get you to consume the entire thing. Yeah. Print those out and write them out and see why. And then you figure it out. You figure out, like how to be witty, how to like really make a strong point, how to make something stand out. You figure
it's
out
training
all
that
of these
muscle,
things. It
right?
is.
It's there's that YouTube channel, Charisma on Command or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I don't think everyone needs to go watch Charisma on Command to become better with having Riz. But at the end of the day, when you hear those things over time, it's the same thing as working on a jump shot, working on a golf swing, working on anything. Like your first 100 reps are just not going to be that great. Yeah. But like the more you're watching it, the more you're thinking about it, like the movements start to make sense. Yeah. Like the rhythm, pacing, different ways to incorporate a power word, different ways to start a sentence, to interrupt a long sentence with a short bullet point sentence. Like those things start to come to you. And that's what we talk about all the time with watching YouTubers and trying to put it into your brand's content, is like incorporate those things that you see over time. And I mean, I don't know about you. It's a hard thing to continue to do when you feel like you've kind of built that skill. And I've noticed that recently. I feel like by writing scripts on IG, I'm becoming ass at written content. Like I'm like not able to write as banger of Twitter hooks as I used to. And so I'm kind of like trying to get back into the trenches a little bit and trying to sharpen that muscle again so that I can, you know, still be dangerous writing, because writing is how you attract very intellectual folks. You know, visuals is really good for a consumer, but like writing is how you communicate to business owners.
And writing is the tool that and skill that if you do it very well, it impacts everything. There's not a thing you can build a business on the back end of writing.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
people do it, right? That's all a newsletter is.
Totally.
But it's the one skill that you can build an entire business off the back end, because if you're a better writer, you write better scripts. If you're a better writer, you write better emails. If you're a better writer, you write better landing page and better sales copy and all of those, and better not emails as in like campaign emails, but emails to an investor.
Yeah.
Emails to, it doesn't matter who, like you're just such a better communicator. The best communicators are the ones that win.
I saw a tweet from the founder and CEO of Cloudflare, and he said the most valuable skill he learned was English, like writing, because he said my investor updates were always written very well, like storytelling principles, like introduction, body, conclusion type stuff. And I think you see a lot of high level folks emphasizing that. And, you know, if you're going to spend like 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day doing something, it's like try copy work, try like swipe file stuff, because it compounds so much over time to make you more dangerous.
Yeah.
And the more we shift into this world where, you know, I almost think a lot of this copy that was borderline cheesy with "you need a biscuit," you know, that's like, that doesn't fly as much in today's day and age, because people have seen everything. Everything's been tried at this point. So like to really be novel, you almost have to like say something similarly corny, but more tongue in cheek and ironic. And you can only build that muscle by working on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, you know, power words, storytelling, tension. Those are the three things you need to incorporate into your content more, and watch how the numbers start performing better.
Couldn't agree more. I'm interested. I feel like we should switch it up for Italy. We should brainstorm a little bit on a concept or something that we should do over there.
For sure. I mean, I've actually been thinking about this a lot.
How many bottles of wine can we drink in a 45-minute episode?
I'll put you under the table, bro.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I don't want to ruin your wedding week.
I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about that. I actually think I'm going to experiment with a couple of like wall of text POV type videos while we're in like the Tuscan countryside, dripped out.
I 100% am.
Yeah. Cause you should, you know, okay, I got one for you, cause you said this earlier. So you were like, my style is going to be old money, but you grew up in the ghetto. POV, your style is old money, but you grew up in the hood. And then you just show off the fit. It's going to bang. I think that'll probably be pretty solid. Novel. Haven't really seen it.
The only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get the Clarence comment. Because I did go to a private school. I did grow up in the hood, but I went to a private school.
That's great. I mean, you're engagement farming, right? If in that scenario, I think that's a win. If people,
I'm letting the people know now so that
you didn't grow up in the hood.
No, I did. Golden Gate is let me compare. If there's like Liberty City, Miami, Golden Gate is not that. You know what I'm saying? But Golden Gate is definitely like where we grew up is definitely the hood, right? It's like saying the bad parts of East Austin here. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't look at Austin and say
you're like pre-gentrified.
They're not going to gentrify Golden Gate. I can promise you that.
Okay.
You know, like we got a Kmart and a Kmart first off.
Is Kmart still cooking?
In Golden Gate.
That's sick.
You know what I'm saying? Like Kmart is not if you live anywhere near a Kmart.
Yeah, no, it says, you know.
If you live near a Quick Pick, a Kmart.
Winn-Dixie? You said Winn-Dixie?
Yeah, I didn't know if you knew what Winn-Dixie was.
I know Winn-Dixie, bro. I'm from the South.
From like we had a Winn-Dixie right across the street. So, you know what I mean? Like it's definitely levels. But I did go to a private school because my mom was a teacher and it was free.
One question for the audience is we're going to Italy. We're going to film a pod, no laptops, no prep. So like if you want to leave some things in the comments that you've always wanted to know potentially about Alex, about myself, I think that would be
That could be interesting.
Yeah, like just a little AMA, like or you may not care at all, which is totally fine too.
Totally fine.
I'm down to be a talking head. Like
Yeah.
it'd just be this floating character.
No, I think people, some people, you read the comments and they care, which is cool.
For sure.
But it's definitely the minority.
Yeah. But those are the real ones.
Yeah, those are the ones we're making this episode for.
For sure. But we're publishing this one on Tuesday. We're filming on Wednesday. So we will read those comments and definitely be able to incorporate them into the episode. And
wait, so this goes out next Tuesday, and then we'll film when it goes out. Okay, so we'll be fine. Yeah, I was worried we weren't going to have enough episodes.
Yeah. Well, cool. Otherwise, you're still here. Please like, subscribe, share with somebody you know. We need got to get that network effect going. But yeah, we'll catch y'all in Italy.
We'll see you in Italy.